Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. I don't have to tell you, the holidays are here. What, Diane? Yeah, you know they're here. It seems like year after year after year, they come sooner and sooner. What do the holidays mean to us? Well, they mean gathering with families and friends, but it also means shopping and making sure visitors are taken care of. Your people are coming from all parts of the state here to New Mexico because they love it here during the holidays, and we want them to enjoy it. And how can we enjoy it? Well, being prepared is one, but number two is, of course, being safe. We know when we go shopping for those Christmas presents that they're very vulnerable in our cars, right? We hear about the break-ins. We know about when our visitors come from out of state, if we don't have room in our homes, they're in hotels, motels, and we know their cars get broken into. We hear it on the news. We hear all of these things, and we know it's a distraction, it's a disappointment, and it's a fear. Well, we have some hope for you, because on the program today, we're going to talk to you about how you can better prepare, not just for the holidays, but prepare for your safety, for yourself and your family. We're going to give you tips about being safe in your home, being safe in your vehicle, being safe when you're on our streets, and we're going to be giving you a lot of hope. So stay with us as we discuss with Albuquerque Police Department the crime prevention programs and with their crime prevention specialist, how you and I can feel safer and being safer in our homes, on the streets, and in our vehicles with the tips. We'll be back right after this.
The National Education Association of New Mexico, a union of teachers and school staff, believes every child deserves to learn at a school that inspires their imagination, cultivates their curiosity, and ensures a fulfilling life. Public schools should provide all our students with small class sizes and one-on-one attention. NEA New Mexico asks you to join us so together we can end the teacher and staff shortage and invest in our public education system once and for all. Sponsored by NEA New Mexico.
Programs. So I have with me Samantha Martinez. She is the crime prevention specialist. She's been with Albuquerque Police Department for over 4 years, and she's going to tell us about various programs with APD, Absolutely. With the crime-free programs. Also, big things that Neighborhood Watch and things like that you can do with your businesses. But also I'm grateful to you that you're going to give us some tips that we knew that we need around these holidays. So welcome and happy holidays to you.
Thanks, happy holidays.
It feels funny, but they're here. Samantha, number one tip that people appreciate that they didn't realize?
I think taking everything out of your vehicles. So the Look Before You Lock program is really big.
What is it called?
The Look Before You Lock.
That's what it is.
So not only in the summertime do we use that for the kiddos in the vehicles or animals in your vehicles, but we also use it as look before you lock anything in your vehicle. So if you're going to leave stuff out in your vehicle, we recommend you don't. Just because of the number of auto burglaries that we get each day, we recommend that you take everything out and you look in your vehicle before you lock it to see how safe your vehicle is.
That's what it is. I looked online, all these programs are listed, and that was the one I said at the beginning of the show. I said, what does that mean? Well, now it is. Look, that's simple. Look before you lock. Look to see that you got everything out so you're not tempting people. What about the idea that you keep your windows open, your car unlocked, so people don't break a window? Because breaking a passenger window or the windshield or the back, that happened to me, is very expensive.
I agree. So that's a common problem that we see is that people will leave their vehicles unlocked. We actually had an officer who used to live in an apartment, and he would leave his glove compartment open.
Empty, showing it was empty, so
Showing
they can't grab all their important papers.
Exactly. So he took everything out. His vehicle was locked, but the
Glove compartment.
Yes, the compartment itself was open. And so with that, he was able to show that there was nothing in his vehicle of value, so that way it wouldn't be broken into. Another good tip is to, if you're going to use a club, so
on the steering wheel?
On the steering wheel, so that way your car looks as if, you know, it's a little safer in some aspect, so that way we're not targeting your vehicle. It's actually somebody else is more vulnerable, so they're going to go to a different vehicle.
So Samantha, you're saying you should put the club?
Absolutely. That's one of the best deterrents in Albuquerque, is because it makes it more your vehicle a harder target, and the next vehicle that does not have a club less vulnerable.
How much do clubs cost?
I'm not too sure. On average, I assume that they're about $30.
Clubs. I'm going to put that down. I'm making a note to myself. I've heard it before. I haven't done. Okay. What about keeping your car with the window open and unlocked and the glove compartment open, so they again don't break that window? Keep it unlocked? No.
I don't recommend that, because then your vehicle is more vulnerable to be stolen. And we do get a lot of stolen vehicles. You know, day to day, I look at the statistics every day to see what was stolen throughout the weekend or the day prior.
Give me some of those numbers that you find just in recent.
So I work for the Foothills Area Command, which is everything east of Eubank, city limit to city limit, north and south. And so there, in the last month, it was about 66 auto burglaries.
Stealing the car, stealing or just breaking into it?
That's breaking in.
Okay, 66 on the street, not in their garage, but in their driveway.
Either in their driveway, those can be in a business, at the gym, in a park, in a parking lot, anywhere that there would be a vehicle parked and left vulnerable. That is kind of where you would see that.
And do those statistics say if anything was taken, if the window was just broken? Tell me again.
So there's a combination. There's some that, you know, they break in to steal the vehicle, and then they're unsuccessful, so they rummage through the vehicle. And so they try to find any information, any personal information, any identification. Car insurance is often taken because it has your name, your address, and your vehicle information. So if they were to go back to a different car similar to yours and get pulled over, they would be able to use that. It would then come back as a stolen vehicle, hopefully that somebody, not a stolen vehicle, but a
stolen identification.
Stolen identification.
So why do they always rummage through the glove box? Looking for the papers. So you just shared with me how they use the paper as their identity, supposedly. If it's a similar car, they may sell that identity. I have a Ford Mustang ID to sell. Is that how else do they use that? Do they use it to go burglarize your house, or?
Sometimes yes. So at times, what we'll find is that they will take all of the information, meaning like your insurance or registration, which has your name, your where your vehicle, the address that your vehicle is registered to, and then if you have left a garage door opener in your vehicle, they take the garage door opener, and so then they know where to go and they burglarize homes.
Is that the main thing that they take out of the box? Is that what they're looking for?
It could be, yes.
So again, I didn't realize that they sell the identity from the insurance.
Yes. So I mean, your identity is very personal. So your identity is everything that you can link to yourself. So your address has a lot of information on it. You can link that. Go on Google, do a basic Google search, and find out who you are. And a lot of times some of the information is sold on like the dark web, or your identity is becoming stolen.
So regarding the 66 number, sadly at my sports club, cars were broken into in broad daylight, 6 o'clock. They knew the women's exercise class started at 6, and they sat in the parking lot watching if the woman took her purse with her or left it in the vehicle, or she just took her car keys and her mat.
Absolutely.
And that's daytime, crowded parking lot.
Absolutely.
And they broke in looking. They said, oh, they're going to class. They didn't bring her purse.
Yes. So gyms are hit pretty hard. It doesn't matter. Those are year round. It doesn't matter what time of year. Typically, beginning of the year when everybody has New Year's resolutions, nobody's really paying attention to what they're leaving in the vehicle as they go to work out for the first time. They don't realize how vulnerable they are. And so if you're going to a gym, make sure that you take your gym bag and everything with you, because we've had countless numbers of gym bags, backpacks, purses stolen out of vehicles just because they're left there. And a criminal doesn't care what's in it. A criminal doesn't care that there could be stinky gym clothes, or they don't know if there's going to be a wallet, or even a firearm at times have been left in vehicles in gym bags. And so then you have to worry about who actually has your firearm.
What about putting things in your trunk?
Your trunk is a general safe place, but if you are going to be out for long periods of time and you are going to use your trunk, I recommend that you take everything and put it in your trunk before you get to your destination. So do not go and remove all of your items and then put them in your trunk and then walk in, because somebody could be watching you, as you said.
And popping and breaking it out. Any other safety for our vehicles?
Take everything out.
Oh.
I know how tedious that sounds, but I've had reports of things that are so petty as change in the cup holder being stolen out of vehicles. So it's things that may not be of any value to you, like a receipt, or a receipt could lead to like paperwork in the glove compartment, because they're like, oh, they leave their receipts. They probably leave all of their paperwork around too. But taking everything out.
What about if a police officer stops us, we need our ID, we need our proof of insurance, we need our proof of registration, and most people put that in their glove box, right?
Absolutely. So that is one thing that I have learned from a former commander of mine, who just retired not too long ago, Commander Altman. He actually recommends to everyone that you take all of your paperwork and place it under your floor mat on the driver's side. Oh. So when you do get pulled over and an officer does ask you for your registration, your proof of insurance, and any of that information, it's under your floor mat. So then you are then going to tell the officer that you have to reach under your floor mat to get your paperwork, just so that way it's safe.
Yeah, you have to say that
Yes.
as well. God, that's even a scarier situation.
Yes.
Let's talk about safety in our homes.
Okay. So when you go home, you typically, most times you take your same route home. So at times it'd be safest to just mix it up sometimes. So when you're driving home, first off, just take a different route every now and again. In the case that somebody might be watching you, might be trying to figure out what your routines are, you'll be able to disguise which way you're going home or what time you're getting home, so that way you're not always being cased, if that is the case in your neighborhood. Another tip is always to check your windows and your doors to make sure that they're locked, because we assume that our windows are locked, but a lot of times our windows are open, especially coming from one season to the next, especially in this New Mexico heat. We're trying to get over the heat and into the winter.
You like that fresh air coming in at night, and
right?
Then you don't leave. Okay.
Or we're baking; it's too hot inside, so we leave them open and then we don't lock them after.
Great. Make sure the windows are locked.
Yes.
Taking a different way home.
Making sure that whoever has a key to your home is not going to have access to your home all the time, or they know where your key is, because sometimes we give our keys to our neighbors just in case, but if their homes get broken into and they have it like labeled like this is to this address, or this is you know, Kelly from next door, and that's her key. So make sure that you know where your keys are, even the spare ones, and how they're being handled.
Very nice. They questioned how they're labeled. That's a good point, how to do that. So the spare keys, what about hiding a spare key outside your home?
So if you're going to hide a spare key, it's not completely recommended. I know I have a teenager who, you know, she'll get locked out of the house, and luckily her grandma lives around the corner, so it's not too big of a deal if she does get locked out, because she could just walk over there. But I don't recommend hiding a key outside, just because if you are being cased and somebody does see your teenager, or you know, you get locked out of your house and then they find the key wherever you have it hidden, whether it be under a mat or in a rock or in a plant somewhere outside, that's going to be, you know, they'll know where it's at the next time. So if you are going to hide a key,
if they're watching,
if somebody is watching you,
okay,
somebody can then know where your key is hidden. So if you're going to disguise the key in a different place every time, it's not completely recommended, but that would be the recommendation if you have to hide a key, is to hide it in some place different every time you have to pick it up. Yes, then you have to remember all the hiding places.
Samantha, you teach these courses, you go to the homes, you've been working for 4 years. What is kind of novel and different? We've heard of some of these things, some of we haven't, about labeling the keys or taking a new route, but what would you share that's kind of like an awe, like, oh, why didn't I think of that, or oh, I shouldn't do that? What's the most?
Something that I don't think a lot of people know about is crime prevention through environmental design. So we know that police officers, you know, have a hard job, especially in the age that we live in, and so we completely recommend that crime prevention through environmental design is used. What that means is that you're using the environment that's around you to keep you safe. So what that means typically for businesses, apartment complexes, even homes, is that you're taking care of your landscaping. You're making sure that you can always see out, and typically somebody can see in, and I can explain how to navigate that as well. But you want to make sure that your bushes or hedges are always, you know, below at least window level. For businesses and apartment complexes, we always recommend that they trim them down to 2 feet, and overhangs for trees are up to 6 feet at the minimum. That's just for hiding spaces. It kind of minimizes how many people can hide either behind a tree or behind a bush. I'm not very big, but a lot of these apartment complexes that we have around town have, you know, really large hedges that were not thought about when, you know, the design was put in place, and then they weren't taken care of, and so they're bigger than I am, and I can hide in one. So if a criminal were to be lurking, they have a hiding space, which kind of puts a danger to our police officers if ever needed to be called, and it also puts a danger to, you know, people that are vulnerable. Could be elderly, kids, single parents, those who do not have the means to protect themselves. Large bushes and hedges are often used as hiding spaces for either predators or criminals that are trying to like either break into your home or break into your
Are there any
vehicles.
statistics on this, Samantha Martinez, about they're actually used as hiding spaces?
Yes. So I am both internationally and nationally designated to perform what's called an environmental survey, a crime prevention through environmental design survey. And so there's been many studies that say, you know, if it's lower than 2 feet, you should be safe, because a lot of people, even if you were to lay down, something's going to stick out of the 2 feet.
Okay, so that's significant.
Yes.
Discussing businesses, what other tips for businesses?
So businesses really need to utilize the no trespassing signs. The no trespassing signs, I know you see them often, but some of them don't have the city ordinance on them. And so it's important, especially in Albuquerque, that you have the city ordinance on your no trespassing sign. So our officers can enforce without having to contact the business owner.
Oh, is that the reason for it?
Yes.
They can enforce it without contacting.
Yes. So if there is somebody who may be camping out or lighting fires in the back of a business, because that does happen quite often, especially in Albuquerque, and there isn't a no trespassing sign, we live in a state where you have to knowingly know that you're not allowed on that property, meaning there has to be a sign, basically.
Even though it's a private entity.
Even though it's a private
business,
entity.
You've got to notify people
Yes,
that it's private.
Yes.
And no trespassing allowed, and have a city ordinance.
Yes. And so for Albuquerque, adding that city ordinance, whether it's just a no trespassing sign, it just says no trespassing, city ordinance, and then has the number of the ordinance, you would be able, an officer would be able to go to your business and enforce and cite them and escort them off of the property.
Otherwise,
they would try to, take them off of the property, but without, if it's at night and the business is closed, there is no one to say that that person is not supposed to be there.
if it's okay, if it's business is closed, you don't know if they're not supposed to be there.
Right. So
The police officers don't know. Gotcha.
right. Well, we know, we're just not allowed to, we don't have the proof to allow them to not be there.
What about no trespassing signs at a private home?
So those are tricky. Technically, yes, they would be helpful. So in gated communities, there are normally signs that have the no trespassing with the city ordinance. So everybody who enters the gate should know that if they are not welcomed, they are stopped at the gate. The sign is at the gate. And so that kind of covers all of the homes within the gated community. But when you are in a community that is not gated, you kind of run into, is this private property? Whose property is it? So yes, if you wanted to have a little no trespassing sign with the city ordinance, it wouldn't hurt. But again, you can always kind of prove who is actually supposed to be there by who actually lives there, and you talk to the homeowner and such. But squatting has become a big issue throughout the country, and so trying to navigate squatting laws and who actually lives there, because some people try to establish residency when they are squatting, whether they're squatting outside in the backyard, in the front yard, and you may have gone on vacation and not known that this person is sleeping in your yard. There's, these squatting laws that kind of prohibit somebody from, an officer from taking them off of the property without an eviction notice.
Oh boy, there's a lot.
Yes.
Thank you, Samantha Martinez, for all the Foothills Area Command Crimes Prevention Specialist. That's a lot. Wow. Regarding the holidays and safety, as I said at the beginning of the program, all this is very fascinating. Anything else regarding the holidays and traveling? And you said stop before you lock, looking at the vehicles. Anything else regarding?
So a lot of people go to the mall to take, their shopping trips. Everybody needs to be at the mall. So during the holiday season, the mall is pretty much our biggest hot zone because there's so many unattended vehicles. So make sure that if you are going to the mall, once you leave one store, don't take your bags back. And then I know how hard that is,
yes, but especially if you're shopping a lot.
Yes.
Don't
take your bags back to the vehicle if you're not planning on actually leaving the mall, and don't ever leave any of your stuff unattended.
This is not fun. Samantha, Neighborhood Watch, other programs. Do you go to schools, to churches,
Absolutely.
synagogues to share these programs? Tell me how people can get in touch with you if they want to find more. And you need to be back because after your baby, because this is a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot of information.
Good information. But if they want to talk to you, have someone from your department go visit their church, school, synagogue,
sure.
neighborhood program.
We have 6 different area commands in Albuquerque. So you can go to the website and see which one is yours to see which crime prevention specialist would be the most appropriate to talk to. There's also the 768-2006 number that you can call, and that's our senior crime prevention. She can get you in touch with whoever is in your area if you can't designate, or decide which area you actually live in. But with that, we do programs with schools. We go and talk to the kids. We have, some officers that are designated to go talk to the kids and do what's called an imprint program, which is a several-week drawn-out program for first graders, where the kids get to talk to the officers and see our different units. We do what we call law enforcement days at schools, where we take different units out to the schools, and all the kids are able to go, touch the horses and see the vehicles and turn on the lights and get a lesson from our bomb squads. So we would just ask that you call in advance, so that way we're able to coordinate all of the units that you would like there. We do Neighborhood Watch, so there's over 2,000 Neighborhood Watch block captains that we have enrolled throughout the city right now.
Because you could always have more and
Yes.
contact. And go to your website.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of information on this. And
Absolutely.
we know there are a lot of criminals, but there are tips and help.
Yes.
And we can maybe outsmart them with Samantha Martinez's help.
Hopefully.
Good luck to you and your new family.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Come back afterwards and share more.
We will.
Thank you for watching the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, helped me pay for my house. Being part-time really helped because I could have some opportunities that were still in education.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.